Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Insufficient Friends. I'm Kev and Nikki.
Hi.
And if you're new here, welcome.
Welcome.
We are a podcast about literally everything.
And nothing.
And nothing at the same time. Last week we talked about the Titanic. Mm-hmm. This week we're talking about astrology.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in just a second. Mm-hmm. But Nick, how was your week?
It was good. We didn't really do anything. It was Memorial Day weekend. It was actually our first weekend off in a while, and now we're back to having a million things to do. So it was nice to have a break.
That's good.
You visited family.
I did go visit family.
Yeah, how was it?
It was nice. It's always I don't go down there that often, so it's like once or twice a year usually. Mm-hmm. So it's always nice to see everybody. Me and my dad always watch the races. I think we talked about this.
Yeah,
the
because I didn't know what they were.
Yeah, you didn't know what they were. And this year there was rain at two of them, which delayed everything. Gotcha. I didn't end up watching the last one because it was bedtime. Like I was tired. I wasn't going to be able to stay up through it, so I didn't end up watching the end of the last one because it got stopped with I think 150 miles or something to go, and it's gonna be like an hour before they start it again.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, nope, we're going to bed.
Did you guys do anything else? You have a lot of pickles.
Yep.
Did you go to the farmer's market or something?
No, those are just from a store down there.
Okay.
My dad likes pickles. I like pickles.
Mm-hmm. I do too.
He's always had a hard time finding pickles. He can't find them at like his farmer's market down there. Yeah. Because it's not as vast as ours up here, which we have a great farmer's market here in Columbia. It's wonderful. Yes. But he found these at a store, and he's like, "Oh, you need to try these. These are like the best ones I could find anywhere." Yeah. And we went to the store, and I bought a couple jars of them, and I realized that I can actually buy them at Schnucks. Oh. So, and he doesn't have a Schnucks, so it's not. But I mean, I have a Schnucks that's literally a stone's throw from my house.
It's just expensive. So we do our bulk shopping, or not bulk, but most of our shopping at Aldi, and then I'll get like the specialty things at Schnucks.
Yeah, I get that. Because I kind of do that too. If I need to go like buy everything, I go to Walmart. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then if I'm just going to pick up like a gallon of milk or something like that, or if I just want something in particular that like some things Walmart doesn't have, or like there's always different things that different stores have. So sometimes I'll go to Schnucks to get things like that. But.
Schnucks, like charcuterie area, hits different. Like they have a good selection of different meats and cheeses and olive spreads. Because I love pickles, olives, pickled anything. They have a good selection of like that type of stuff over in like the deli area too.
Nice. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've gotten the cheeses from over there, and I think I've gotten pickles from over there too. Yeah. But I've never actually gone to the charcuterie stuff. I like a charcuterie board. Yeah. I'm just too lazy to do it myself.
It's like basically my lunch every day because I try not to have like bread because I'm not supposed to have bread, which sucks. Like bread and butter is my favorite food, and I'm not supposed to have it. So basically, I just like throw a couple pieces of meat and cheese, and like that's my lunch.
Sorry, if you can hear the buzzer, that's my dryer. It's going off.
Always during the episode.
Hey, you know what? It hasn't
dryer. Or the clock.
Well, the clock is not stoppable. Like it just goes. The dryer was my bad. I was expecting this to start a little bit later, and we're a little early.
Blame it on me. Whatever. Okay, shout outs.
Shout outs. We did have one comment on our YouTube page.
Oh, okay.
On the Titanic episode last week. It is from somebody that I work with at the television station who his handle is Tropic Shade. And he does music, so you can find him on YouTube. He does like he's a local like musician and does a lot of music and beats and stuff like that. So he's pretty cool.
Oh, maybe we can highlight that on our story or something then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's awesome. He said, "Great talk, great vid" for the Titanic episode.
Rad.
Which was nice. Yeah,
love it. We had one comment on Instagram. It was just a laughing face from Dan. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Dan.
It was the video where you were like clearing the smoke from the smoke fact bomb. Yeah, and it was supposed to be like a joke, but I didn't understand it at first. And I just stared at you, and you were like, "I'm just being a moron," and I said, "Okay." Yeah. And Dan laughed at that. So.
I mean, I'm always being a moron. That's just part of my personality. So.
Yeah. So thank you, both of you guys who
Yes, thanks for the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff. And I hope you guys enjoy this, let us know on things we should do or what you think would be fun for us to talk about.
We are open to topic ideas. Otherwise, you're gonna get us talking about Titanic, astrology, Taylor Swift. Who knows?
Yeah, we've done Taylor Swift episodes a few times, so
yeah, you're welcome. So comment other topics if you like.
Yes. So anyway, astrology.
Yeah, I was excited to do this one.
So I did not realize that astrology actually dates back to like ancient times.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But even like big astronomers and things back in ancient times, and
that was actually going to be one of my fun facts. Was
ancient
some of
gods and things. So
some of the earliest astrological records, 4000 BCE in Babylonia.
Yeah, because I saw a couple names in here that I recognized when I was looking through some of this stuff. I can't find them right now, but yeah.
It makes sense, right? Like people try to find meaning in things, and the only things you have, especially in those times, are the stars, and they're probably wondrous to look at.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
So, it all kind of makes sense, but yeah. The reason I wanted to talk about this is because I get every day, like, my horoscope, but it's more like it's kind of inspirational.
Okay.
So you know how people have like quote of the day apps or Bible quote of the day or whatever it is. This is like my version of that. And I love every morning like seeing what the universe has in store for me.
Okay.
Whether I follow it or not.
Okay.
So I just thought it'd be interesting because I don't think we've ever really talked about this on here.
I don't think so. Yeah. So what was your
quote of the day?
Quote of the day. Is it a horoscope? I don't know what it is exactly. Yeah. I downloaded the app, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah. So get the CoStar app and friend us on there if you'd like to see how our star charts align. Mine today says, your feelings let you know that you're alive, which was actually comforting because everyone tells me I'm too emotional. Pisces, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So to know that my feelings let me know that I'm human.
Okay. I mean...
It was appreciated.
So I'll say mine.
Okay.
Because I downloaded this app just because I was told to. And I'll say mine, and then I have a comment on these.
Okay.
Okay. So mine says, do something that makes you uncomfortable.
Okay.
Which I feel like is like that's just an advice piece that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I understand that more than I do yours. Mm-hmm. Because the one that you just read to me is just like. Well, yeah. Like, what?
Yeah, but it's like reassuring.
Okay.
Because literally like 3 times this week, people have told me I'm too emotional, and I'm like, I can't. You want me to change? I don't know. I'll just stop talking to everyone ever and not react to anything. I don't know. I'm sorry. Anyways.
Okay.
So it was reassuring.
And some of them I feel like are too broad to mean anything.
For sure. Yeah.
Which is why I'm like, okay, well, this doesn't
just because I get
matter.
These every day and we're talking about this as a topic does not mean I subscribe to every belief. For me, it's more so, I don't know, it's just like a nice inspirational thing. Sometimes, I get something like I'm having a hard week at work or something, and it says something actually like make a connection with someone today, and I'm like, okay, that's actually really good because I was feeling down. I feel like I'm not productive. And then I have another client meeting and I genuinely try so hard to be super helpful, build that trust, build that rapport. And I'm like, okay, that was actually, it kind of reset my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
So I take it more of like that.
There sure is. I'm sure there's good things in it, but sometimes it's just, I've heard people say what their horoscope is or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like that.
Something bad will happen to you this week.
Yeah, that's just off the wall. Like, what do you, what are you talking about?
No, I like it as more of, some people get Bible quotes, some people get inspirational quotes. I get these. It's kind of a mix of everything.
Yeah.
And it's nice to just get.
Because it's kind of spiritual and and inspirational and
exactly
just all together.
Yeah. But back to like astrology in general. So it's it really goes back to, like we said before, ancient times when people would rely on the sun, the moon, the planets to kind of provide meaning for things. And they would use it to like forecast different events, things like that. And whether you subscribe to those beliefs or not doesn't matter. That's, they used it to observe, interpret, things like that. So throughout history, it's, developed and now it's more so, I don't know. It's kind of the same thing. It's really just to find meaning. And for people who don't find meaning elsewhere, like with religion or anything else, I think it can be comforting to them.
Well, and like a lot of these, like they all kind of tie in with all of the ancient, Greeks, Romans.
And I love the idea that something has been around for that long and we're still
not sure about it. Yeah.
Yeah, or not sure about it, talking about it. Just the fact that it's still around. I love when things carry through. That's like 4,000 years.
Yeah. It's long,
more than that.
Long flipping time.
Yeah. So anything that lasts that long is wild. But I feel like a lot of people use this or believe this. It's the same thing as the comfort that religion brings to a lot of people. Like it's finding your meaning, your spirituality. I don't know. It centers you. People use different practices and things to center themselves. And, well, some people weaponize. That's a whole nother thing. But it's more so just like finding what centers you and allows you to create good in the world is how I see it. And to like inspire and be positive. So I texted you a question. It was very deep.
Yeah.
Like, what is the point of life?
Yeah.
Because everything around astrology, spirituality, energy, manifestation, it's all like trying to find meaning in things.
Yeah.
So for you, if someone, I did ask you that. Mm-hmm. So what is like the point of life to you? It's super deep. Usually we don't get this deep. I mean, we talked about the freaking Titanic last week. So
well, that's 2 miles deep. So,
Yep.
It's pretty damn deep. Anyway,
yeah, it is.
different type of deep, but it's still deep. Anyway,
yeah.
I don't know. Mm-hmm. I just kind of go with the flow.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you would say that's part of what my sign is. I don't know.
It actually is. Your sign is a very mutable sign, like you go with the flow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know what the meaning of life is. I just try to be a good person and live it. Mm-hmm. And there's not, to tell you the truth, I don't know that I really care what the meaning of life is. It just kind of like,
the same way. Yeah.
It just kind of is like, well, I'm here, so we're going to go through the process. Like, I like to have fun. I like adventures, things like that. But it's just kind of like, I don't know if that's part of the meaning.
I literally feel the same way though. Because like, I don't think there's any one meaning. Obviously everyone's different.
Yeah. I also think it depends on what your belief system is.
Oh, 100%. Because some people's meaning is to, progress their religion or, raise their kids and that. There's so many different.
Yeah.
But I am kind of like you. I was trying to boil it down to like one word or one sentence, and I think I decided on joy because I've been through so much for where I am. I used to be so scared. I think it's because I was raised to be super independent, super like, I'm trying to find the boss bitch, basically. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, you have to leave a legacy. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, you have to be super productive. You have to leave a legacy. You have to do all this, blah, blah, blah. You have to make your mark on the world. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like, I'm successful. Yeah, I have a great family. I have a loving relationship. I have a loving family and friends. And then I thought about it. Like, I used to be so scared of dying, literally. I would think about it all the time. I'm a weird person. I don't know.
I mean, I think about death every once in a while, too.
Now I'm like, after the surgeries, after literally everything, I'm not scared of that anymore because that all stemmed from I was scared of leaving the world without, like, people remembering me. And I'm like, I don't care. I bring joy to those around me. I bring joy to myself, my dogs, my family, whatever. That's fine with me.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm very go with the flow now, too, I think. So joy very much a similar.
Joy is a good word to describe, like, what.
Yeah.
What hopefully your life is, like what you try to aspire to in your life.
Absolutely. And there's always going to be pain and loss and everything because that's life.
I think also the pain and loss is what makes other things more joyful. Like what brings the joy to other things.
I agree. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
I think from that point of view is where I, approach all of this stuff is just like in your life, you should do things that make you happy. And getting inspirational quotes every day from a horoscope app makes me happy. So
if it makes you happy,
sue me.
Then...
But it's just like you attract what you allow into. Like there's a lot of people who are negative and then a lot of negative things happen around them or they fall into that stuff. And negative things are always going to happen. But if you stay more positive, it's all about mindset too. And I have learned that over the last couple of years. And that is hard to learn. But I also read this the other day. Humans always ask why. Why do we always have to know why? And I think I have said this before. I feel like with the topics we talk about, especially like the unsolved mysteries and things from the ancient world, I always want to know why.
I think...
And we'll never... There's so many things in the world, in life, that we'll never know why.
Especially in history, even though it was us, we don't have any way of knowing for sure.
Yeah.
I think trying to figure out the why is what kind of makes us a higher evolved being.
Yeah.
Because if you're just like, meh, then...
Yeah, it's just blasé.
You would just fail into oblivion.
Yeah.
Or fall into oblivion. As a society, as everything. Because if you don't ask why, then you're not going to advance knowledge. You're not going to advance anything that's going on. So I think that's part of our...
Being curious advances society, for sure. So, even though there's stuff that we will never know.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's good to be... I think it's good to be curious. I think it's good to ask questions. And it's how we learn.
In the right
obviously.
Settings.
It's how we learn, obviously. Yes.
I have asked why many a times in the wrong settings. like when in the middle of mass next to my dad. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. And he's like, shut up. But yes, in general, being curious is a good thing.
Oh, yeah. Maybe just pick your moments to be curious.
Pick your moments. Well,
oh man.
So we looked at what star signs we are. Obviously, I made you download the app. But did you do any reading? So you're a Virgo. Did you do any reading of like, because I have like pros, cons, how we work together, but did you do any reading on it?
I didn't. I did like some looking at the planets and things but I don't really know anything about I don't really know anything about my sign. So
I can go through like the pros and cons and then same for me too.
Let's start with this.
Yeah.
Because it's all based on when you're born. Which is a weird thing that like everybody born in this time period, because it just splits the calendar into a pie basically.
Yeah.
But everybody born in this time period would be the same attributes or whatever.
And there's different.
But it also has to do with I guess what year and all that kind of stuff too. But.
Yeah, in the time, because there's different aspects. There's your sun sign. So actually, let me read this because I thought this was interesting. You can look at your chart. I don't know how much you actually looked at this, but you can look at your rising sign, your sun sign, your moon sign, and they all say different things about you. So it's based on not only your date of birth, but also the year, the time. because literally like I think it's the rising sign. One of them goes by your time of birth, and every 2 hours is like it switches.
Okay.
So I'll read this. The sun sign, which is for you, is Virgo.
Okay.
For me is Pisces. This is like your ego, identity, and role in life. It's the core of who you are, and it's what you most likely resonate with most. Your moon sign is more like your emotions, moods, and feelings. And then your rising sign or ascendant sign, it's called too. This is what you present to other people, like your mask. Because you know how so for example, in my day-to-day job, I'm super serious, very structured, regimented. Mm-hmm. In my personal life, I'm literally complete opposite, like 180. So your mask and like how you present to others is also very different from who you are intrinsically.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So you do have different aspects of it too, but we're just going to focus on the sun sign, which is like who you are, your identity, how you think of yourself the most.
Okay.
Not like how you present to others necessarily. So for you, that's Virgo. Mm-hmm. So Virgo men, because it is different between like male and female too.
Okay.
Virgo men, here's like your list of pros. I just took like the top couple. You're a problem solver, down to earth, mutable, like go with the flow type of thing. Clean and organized, hardworking, intelligent, and rational. I thought those line up, especially the rational, mm-hmm. clean and organized, mm-hmm. and then the problem solver for sure. Because I feel like it's more so like the curiosity thing.
Yeah. Like
always wanting to know why. That's how I took that more. So that was like the pros.
Those kind of match, yeah.
Yeah, I thought those were kind of good. The cons, and again, I just took like the first couple. Rigid and schedule. Whatever that really means.
Yeah, I don't know.
Too calculative.
Yeah, I can see that.
Too critical or judgmental.
Yeah, that can happen sometimes.
Both with yourself and others.
Yeah.
I think it meant both. Compulsively picky. Yeah. Which is funny to me. You definitely are. Protective of yourself, which it had this as a con. I feel like sometimes that can be a good thing because you have to be protective of yourself. Mm-hmm. But I think this meant like you have like walls up.
To a detriment, yeah.
Yeah, like to a detriment to yourself because the next bullet point was can't trust others. So I think those kind of tie together. Like you'll have a wall up sometimes.
Yeah, I think it depends, yeah.
Interpreted that. Which again, these are open to interpretation. So that's how I interpreted it.
Yeah.
Okay. But
I mean, that kind of matches. Like, I get that.
So I thought that made sense.
Yeah.
Mine, for sure freaking makes sense. All right, here we go. Pisces, female Pisces, pros. Empathetic, extremely intuitive, which is also kind of on the con side too. Hopelessly romantic. I mean, we got married in Scotland because
you eloped
the
to
thought
Scotland.
of getting married anywhere else, I would cry. So yeah, creative. Yeah. Shows up for people and strong morals. And I was like, yeah, I have all those. Yeah. My morals. Again, some of these can be cons too. I have like too strong of morals where I will cut people off if like they don't. Well, I guess if they're bad people, I should be cutting them off. So actually, I like that. Okay, never mind. Anyways, those are the pros. Definitely aligns. Cons, dreamers, like to a fault.
Yeah.
I definitely live in a fantasy world in my head and can't come down from it. I mean, again, the Scotland, the Bridgerton, everything, it's like I don't live in real life. I do in my job.
Yeah.
In my job, I'm like very, very practical. But again, that's the mask. That's not me.
Yeah.
Too trusting. Lazy. Also chronic illness, but that's a whole different. I am probably lazy. Too forgiving and overly emotional.
Okay. Yeah.
I can tell you, Casey would read this list and be like, yep.
Oh.
Yeah, because he's always like, calm down. Literally like patting me on the back. And we'll be sitting on the couch, and if I like don't talk for a while, it's like he knows immediately. He's like, he looks at me and he's like, let it out. And I'm like, and I don't know what's wrong with me. I think because I mask so hard during the day because my job is so professional and regulated. It's like everything else.
You push it down. Push it down.
Yeah, literally. But,
oh, man.
So here's how we work together.
Okay.
So, Virgo, you actually don't mix well with a lot of the zodiac signs.
That's not okay. I mean, is that surprising, I guess?
I feel like you get along with everyone, but
I get along with everybody, but
you don't enjoy getting along with everyone.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
Because I find some people, yes, annoying, but
yes.
I
you will always.
I am always just it's just whatever. Okay.
Yeah, that's just you. But they need people who can help them take a break from like their super perfect oriented life, and the best compatibility of a Virgo is a Pisces. Snaps for us. A Virgo and Pisces are exactly opposite in the zodiac chart, yet complement each other very well.
Okay.
There you go. I was the perfect co-host, Kev.
Okay.
Contrary to all the errors I have made.
Hey, we're insufficient around here.
Yeah. But I loved that because it's very true.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of like similar interests, but very different personality types for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, we do have a lot of similar interests and different ways to come about those, but yeah we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it meshes well, I think. So you did more reading about like the planets and stuff specifically, because I was seeing so much as I was reading and doing more research for this episode. Basically, the idea is like, and this goes back to way before, the idea is that we are influenced. It's like the that quote, like as above, so below. Like we are influenced by the universe, basically, is like the idea of this whole thing. So you did more reading on the planets than I did, I think.
Yeah. So it talks about like, and by the way, again, we're getting a lot of this from like, I'm getting a lot of this from Wikipedia and things. So like, take it with, maybe like
multiple grains of salt.
A handful of salt.
Yeah. As with anything we say.
Yeah, like we're not the best at this. So so it talks about like early astronomers and astrologers like trying to figure out how, well, we talked about at the beginning, like what's going on in the universe, and they started with the 7 planets, which includes the sun and the moon. It didn't include Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto because those were not visible with the naked eye. So all the other ones you can see.
Also, R.I.P. Pluto.
Yeah, and there's something funny I noticed in here with Pluto. So
is there? Okay.
So I mean, in it's like the Greeks, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Romans, medieval Christians, like all of them had beliefs in this they tie to their gods and things.
So it really spanned across all cultures.
Yeah. So and they all each one symbolizes something else, and they're all usually tied to a god of some sort or a deity. The sun and the moon were a lot of times thought to be the lights. They're the two that you can see the most, the easiest. Yeah. They also move the fastest from what you can observe on
visibly. Yeah.
So, and again, there's a lot to this. So this is just a very, very like condensed, like
high level synopsis.
Just like we're shaving like an inch off the top.
It's basically every single topic we talk about on this podcast, we just completely destroy it.
Well, like
we make it so simple and in 40 minutes, basically.
Here's the thing. Like we go into these like this. There's a podcast out there that a friend of mine used to listen to called Hardcore History.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was called. But this guy would do like 8 hours on like
that's a lot.
One thing, like a small, like he did a lot of like historical things, so like wars and things like that. He would do like one episode would be 8 hours. He might have 10 episodes on this war, and they're all like,
oh, okay,
so it's like
it's like a mini series,
super in depth. No, it's not even a miniseries because each episode would be like 4 to 5 hours, and there would be 10 4 to 5 hour episodes, like 50 hours of this.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So it's like, yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah, this is, what are we at? Like
30 minutes? Yeah. And we've also done shout outs and other things. So,
yeah.
Anyway, so the sun is associated with your ego, sense of purpose. The moon is associated with your emotions, motherly instincts on those.
That's interesting.
Mercury is protection, preserving and protection, nature and mankind. Venus, beauty, fertility, which, I mean, that goes along with these pretty much like what the Greek gods were.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Sounds really familiar.
And kind of what they're named after. I mean, half of them are named after these things. So, Mars is the son of Earth. It's strength and aggression. Jupiter is... it says mentor and teacher of gods. So the teacher or priest.
Yeah.
But the one that I found interesting was Pluto, because we've talked about Pluto before, because you're very sad that Pluto is no longer a planet.
I could have sworn it was a planet again.
So the reason that I thought this was funny is because I read this and I was like, that kind of matches with what Pluto has done in the past. It says the god of death and rebirth, associated with subconscious forces ruling all that below is the surface and the abyss. So,
oh my god,
like the birth and rebirth, kind of like death and rebirth is kind of like Pluto's kind of been in that kind of roundabout thing for a while, hasn't it? Oh, poor Pluto.
It has been.
But yeah, it's, I mean, again, there's, and it all, like, how they line up and affect people depends on, like, where the, like, angles in the astronomical graph, and, like, there's so much weird
There's a lot
things.
to it, actually.
There's weird is the wrong word to use for this. There's so much in it.
Yeah, it's very in depth.
It talks about, like, the separations, if they're separated by 0, 90, or 180 degrees, they're considered challenging. They're separated by 60, 72, or 120 degrees, they're considered, like, flowing, like a flow state. There's just so much to it.
Yeah, there's a ton to it. I mean, people do a crazy amount of, like the guy you mentioned before with the history videos, people do hours of, like, readings and drawing up the different star charts, and it's I don't understand it one bit.
I tried to read, like, I did go into a little bit of a rabbit hole of, like, trying to figure out things as I was reading this, and I think I got more confused. I still don't understand what's going on entirely.
Yeah.
So yeah, and there's a lot of different symbols with it too. Like you said, like your I was looking when you were reading earlier about, like, what mine were and like what your other signs are. So like
on our
the
chart.
sun is Virgo, my moon is a Leo.
Yeah, my moon is Aquarius.
And I don't entirely understand. My Mercury is Libra, my Pluto is Scorpio, and I don't understand what these mean entirely.
So look at your ascendant sign. So my ascendant is Capricorn. This is the one I was talking about. It's your mask. So mine says your ascendant is in Capricorn, meaning you come across as conservative, serious, rational, perhaps even grave. You seem to make decisions in responsible, practical, and prudent ways. Your ambitions may come off as opportunistic. So like, total sense.
My moon and ascendant are both Leo.
Okay, so what does it say?
So it says your ascendant is the mask as you present people. It can be seen as personal styles. Some say it becomes less relevant as you get older. It changes.
Yeah, that's the one that I said.
Your ascendant. Okay, here it is. Yeah. Your ascendant is in Leo, meaning you come across as bright, good-natured, and magnetic. Your energy makes you seem either like a know-it-all or a live wire, but always the center of attention. Yeah, I can see that.
That's pretty true.
Yeah, I can see that.
Just like having been like coworkers before we were like friends, I totally see both of those. Also, it makes me think of Motley Crue Livewire. Everything just makes sense in that.
Yeah. So that was okay. So that kind of like
interesting though.
It all when you read the like the definitions of it, it matches really well.
Yeah.
Which always surprises me when things like that happen, because it's like how is my birth date gonna make this birth date and time gonna make this come up with this?
And granted, I totally get people say it is vague. Yeah, sometimes it is very vague.
Oh yeah, these are still vague.
Yeah,
but you kind of like you can see where, and the thing is you're gonna make connections even where they're not there.
Oh yeah, like how I interpreted the pros and cons and things like that, for sure. We extrapolate based on our own experiences and our own biases, as with anything.
Yeah,
and ever, we extrapolate based on our own experiences. That just is inherently human to do that.
Yeah.
You draw from your own experiences and relate it to something else.
And everybody has different experiences, so everybody's going to be a little bit different. Like that's
like, I notice I am trying to be better about, like, I cut people off when they're saying something that happened to them. I'm like, oh, that happened to me too. And I don't do it from like a mean standpoint or like I'm trying to one up them. I'm like trying to relate to them.
Yeah.
And I have to like try to get myself to stop doing that because it's really freaking annoying to other people, and I get it and I can't stop it. I think that's like part of like ADHD runs in our family, and I've never been like diagnosed or anything, but it's, it's all like a spectrum.
Yeah.
And I catch myself, I'm like, I hear myself doing this and I'm sorry, I can't stop. But it's the same thing. Like I try to relate. And so you put your own personal spin on what you're reading and the different charts and everything.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
It's interesting though.
It is. And there's again a lot to it. So again, we just like
high level.
we took like, the smallest scrape off the surface of this. So if you want more, I don't know, you're on YouTube. Find it on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. I was about to say, if you want more, let us know, but don't let us know because we don't know anymore.
No, that's about the extent of what we know.
Yeah.
But hey, comment, like, subscribe, yay.
Yeah.
Let us know something else you want to know, like, is the minimal about, and we'll try to look it up.
Yeah, yeah.
On Wikipedia. We'll do the same thing you would do. We'll look it up on Wikipedia.
Give us a topic, and we will give you one fact and 25 minutes of BS.
And that fact may not even have to do with what we were talking about. But speaking of facts, you said you actually have facts today. Today that goes along with this.
Yes, I was really proud of myself. So one I already said that astrological records were found 4000 BC in Babylonia. My second one, Benjamin Franklin, who I've been to like his house and seen different tours and stuff on the East Coast. He's fascinating as a human in general. Like weird.
Yeah. Well, he was a grave robber and like he's just
because he was testing.
He was doing test things. Yeah. So it was.
Yeah.
Like I understand.
So many different.
I understand, but the fact that you're a grave robber is still kind of weird.
Yeah. So just overall, very fascinating as a human being that existed. So he was an astrology enthusiast who wrote and published Poor Richard's Almanac under the pseudonym Richard Saunders, which included lots of astrological elements. So the fact that he was an astrology enthusiast, I was like, it makes sense because it's like the opposite of science, but also ties in with science at the same time. So it would make sense that he would be interested in learning more about the stars, the planets, things like that. So that was my fact.
Okay. So, I've seen this in a couple places, on a couple pages that talk about these facts. So they may all be pulling from the same place. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Cosmo. So
like the magazine.
Yeah, Cosmopolitan. And
hashtag fact.
Yeah. So, and that's, again, I seen this on a couple of them, and it says that Mercury in retrograde can actually be a good thing. Because I know everybody's like, oh, Mercury's, it's like, that's always been the trope that it's bad when Mercury's in retrograde.
Yeah.
You might have heard Mercury in retrograde referenced in a catch-all excuse for bad things. It says it's a great time to look back at areas of communication, organization, and learning. Take the opportunity to revisit old friends and places. Reorganize the piles on your desk. Reread a book. Repair, revise, retrace your steps in order to make corrections and learn from the past. So it's not like, obviously it doesn't actually mean the planets move backwards, but it's kind of like you should move. From what I read from it, is that you should move backwards and look back over things that you...
slow down, revisit things.
Revisit things that you may have looked over in the past.
Something new. Yeah. Interesting.
So...
Yeah, I definitely have used that as an excuse before, not even knowing what it meant.
Yeah, so I think that's about it for this week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Let us know.
Listening.
Thanks for listening. Let us know what else you want us to barely dig into, and we'll try to make it as deep as possible, and yet still totally insufficient. Hence the name. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.